Dak Prescott is a hard quarterback to read. And the reason why I say that is because you see big numbers from him, but yet we also see the big moments where he disappears. He always is in the best spots, obviously, when the Cowboys were able to, like, when the Cowboys were at their best and Dak was truly at his best and really put in a position to succeed. That was peak Ezekiel Elliott, and that was when they were running the football more
read option,
like they promised they would do now, but actually did it back then.
Yep.
And he's throwing the ball 35 times a game or so, right? Good spot. When you start asking Dak to throw it 50-something times, that's when the numbers drop. That's when the team loses. That's when the problems happen, the mistakes happen, the interceptions happen. He's still set at just over 4,000 passing yards this year, 40, 50 and a half.
Yeah.
Minus 120 to the over. I think he goes over. And if you look at, passing touchdowns, 28 and a half, I'll be honest with you, I'd take the over on that too, and here's why. There's a lot of conversation about not just his contract, but obviously CeeDee Lamb, right? I think Dak is going to do everything he can to help CeeDee Lamb get paid. And we saw the way after the first 5 or 6 games of last season, CeeDee Lamb went on an absolute tear. We're talking double-digit receptions every single week, monster performances. I think we see the same thing again this year from those two, especially with, let's say, neither one of them. If we're still sitting here and we're talking about both their contracts, then there's even more incentive for them to play well. This is going to be a situation, I think, where he still puts up big numbers. They have to throw the football. I don't think they're as good as where they are last year, but I do think he still puts up those big numbers because they have no choice.
Yeah, really good points right there, man. And I've also, Dak came into the league and was a winner right away. They lose that playoff game to Green Bay, the Jared Cook catch game. But, that was his rookie season. That was Zeke's rookie. They were young, and they found success right away. And then there were some rough years there. They make the coaching change. They bring in Mike McCarthy. And now, everybody's a lame duck. So I'm with you. I would probably bet only overs. Over 28.5 touchdown passes, over yards. I'm not going to run out and do that, but I wouldn't bet unders because of what you said, man. It's a contract year. It's a prove-it year. Dak wants that one last big deal. And also, CeeDee Lamb is a top 5, at least top 10 receiver in the league. That list gets longer every year. We got some dudes coming in now with Neighbors and Marvin Harrison who might take over early on. But, yeah, I expect both of those guys to ball out in a contract year. But even if they put up numbers, I don't know how good Dallas is going to be this year. I actually worry a little bit about that defense, man. You lose your coordinator. The secondary, I know it was beat up last year, but
they lost multiple pieces defensively, too. Now, they weren't necessarily stars.
And they couldn't stop the run.
Yeah.
But Dak should ball out this year. And I think Dak is a really good regular season quarterback.
Yes.
It's just but that playoff game, I finally bought into Dallas a little bit because nobody beat him at home. They were undefeated at home in the regular season. Green Bay comes to town. Jordan Love's making his first start in the playoffs, so you would expect there to be growing pains, but it actually looked like Dak was the guy making his first playoff start. In the second half, he padded the stats a little bit. Jake Ferguson had 4 touchdowns to help him out. But, dude, he had those awful pick sixes, those interceptions in the first half, and it was game over. You spotted Green Bay a 2-score, 3-score lead with those bad decisions. And you would expect the veteran at home to play much better than that. And you would expect Jordan Love to make the mistakes in his first start as pretty much a rookie, even though he's not a rookie. So that's why I kind of have to be done with Dak and Dallas in the playoffs. But as far as regular season numbers go, I would only bet overs, man. He's a great regular season stat patter. We know that.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not ragging on him. A lot went wrong for Dallas in that game. But, he wasn't great.
Listen, it falls on the quarterback first. Right?
It does.
That's really what it comes down to. But, we can have these conversations all we want about if a quarterback's going to get paid, what he's going to get paid. In the end, it happens. It does. For any quarterback in Dak's position, Tua is going to end up getting paid. It doesn't matter at this point because these teams know if you don't have a quarterback, you have nothing. That's how the NFL works. It's just that simple. There's a reason why some owners have actually suggested the possibility of just having max contracts, right? Limits on what you pay quarterbacks because it's getting so out of control. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Good luck trying to get it to happen, but they want that to. But because the quarterback is so valuable, we're paying top 12, top 15 quarterbacks, top 2, top 3 quarterback money. That's how it works. But salary cap goes up. Another quarterback gets paid more. The market just continues. It's inflation, like in this damn country right now, right? It's just it gets everything getting more expensive. It's going to be the same thing with quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's why, if I'm Jordan Love, like I've said on the show multiple times, I want to wait and see what Tua gets. Because, Jordan Love already has a playoff win. Tua has no playoff wins. And I just want to keep resetting that market. So I'd wait. Get my $600 million. It's almost
crazy that we're talking about that number.
We're talking
but
about Jordan Love making $600 million. He could win an MVP. I'm not saying that he can't. Like, he was the real deal last year, but we've seen him for 1 year, and now he could be the highest paid quarterback in the league. People were freaking out about Justin Herbert. Trevor Lawrence. Oh my God, what has Trevor Lawrence ever done? Well, like, when we look back at this in a year or two, it's probably going to be a discount for the Jags.
Everything surrounding the Cowboys right now. What's just the overall kind of feel heading into training camp and the expectations for this season when we know you've got big deals for a lot of guys that are coming up and a lot of questions about maybe some of the moves they did or didn't make this offseason?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Cowboy fans this offseason was the fact that they really didn't do anything. They didn't make any moves, and they lost guys. They lost Tyron Smith, their starting left tackle, future Hall of Famer. Understandably, he's getting older and injuries, and they drafted Tyler Guyton in the first round to be basically their starting left tackle. So they kind of replaced him there. They lost a lot of players, and they replaced them. I mean, they got guys in the draft like every team. But, the team that the Cowboys are fielding as we speak tonight – it's probably not as good as a team that was down to Green Bay 27-0 in the second quarter of that playoff game. So Cowboy fans are like, hey, can we do something here? But they're gonna. I do think they're gonna have a good team. They've had 3 straight 12-5 years. I don't know how you guys feel about Dak Prescott, but he was the runner-up for the MVP last year. So if you've got that quarterback position solidified, which they do, you've got a chance.
Yeah, I'm actually a big Dak guy. What do you think ends up happening with Dak? I know it's an interesting year for him, both him and Mike McCarthy. So what do you think ends up happening there? Do you think they try to get something done, or is it just kind of, a prove-it year, as crazy as that sounds for Dak? Because, he had MVP-type numbers last year. What do you think ends up happening with this contract situation?
Yeah, I think they're going to get something done. His cap hit is so big if they don't, number one. And number two, let's say he plays out the final year of his contract, there's no guarantee that he'd want to come back here. I mean, he's kind of been fighting for every dollar that he gets, if you will. Now, he's well paid, as we know, like most quarterbacks. But I think there's been only 3 quarterbacks that have gotten the franchise tag, where they played under the franchise tag. Mm-hmm. And the other 2 didn't even finish up their contracts with the team that franchised them. That'd be Drew Brees at San Diego at the time, and here came Phillip Rivers. So Brees played under a franchise. Kirk Cousins played under 2 franchise tags in Washington, and both of them had to go somewhere else. So we'll see what happens with Dak in that regard.